Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday Wellness. We are thrilled tonight to have Dr. Hatch back for another week and to talk about emotions even more. We are all here from a company called LifeVantage, and that's how we all got connected originally. And we are just on a mission to feel better and do more. And that's what we're excited about. And so I'll let Dr. Hatch introduce himself and share his presentation. When we are done, we will have a question and answer period after, but we will stop the recording so that people can feel free to ask whatever they need to ask. So Dr. Hatch, we'll turn it over to you.
All right. Hey, welcome everyone. I'm Dr. Hatch. Glad to have you on tonight. It's exciting. I love talking about emotions, even though I don't like feeling them. I like talking about them. Okay. So actually, I'm a chiropractor and an acupuncturist. In Surprise, Arizona. I've been in practice a little over 28 years. I started my practice on a prayer and a credit card, I tell everybody. I've been in with a business partner. We split up and kind of went our separate ways. And I kind of ended up with a short end of the stick out of that business partner deal. And so I just went down the road and opened up about 10 miles away from him and have been just amazingly having a great success of helping people. So I'm not your normal chiropractor. We deal with a lot of nutritional things in our office. We do a lot with structural things. Acupuncture is amazing. If you guys have never studied acupuncture, I'd recommend it highly to just look a little bit into it, because everything in acupuncture deals with yin and yang, and it has 5 elemental laws, which is just kind of amazing. I'll be sharing a little bit of that tonight also, not a lot, but and then we do physical and emotional work. So I'm great to be here and I'm grateful to be here. So I'm going to actually share my screen right now. And we're going to talk about this. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. Everybody see that?
Yes, we're good.
All right, good. All right, let me see if I can get the, oh, there it is. My computer's just a tad slow. So does anybody have stress? If you do, just put a yes in the actual box over here. And what does stress lead to? Okay, stress not only leads to illnesses or the leading cause of illness, but it leads to a lot of emotion, right? So when we're having stress, we're dealing with a lot of stressful situations. Sometimes stress is short-lived and sometimes it's long-lived. And when it's actually long-lived, it really gets to us and starts creating a lot of problems. So what I'm going to actually be talking about is emotions tonight. And I'm going to be talking about emotions create stress. Has anybody ever thought of something and they're sitting there thinking about it and they make it worse than it really is? Okay, I mean, 90% of us do, right? We get in there, we start thinking about something, and we say, oh man, I hope I don't get fired today from my job. I'm sure my boss is upset at me, okay? Some of us have had those emotions or those stressful moments. So when we do that stress, go to this next slide, does anybody ever feel like this? They're working on a project. The other day I was working on a project on my computer and I lost all of it. At least I thought for a little while until I called my son-in-law and had him help me dig it out, okay? Or you're sitting there and you get behind. Now in my office, the worst thing I do is I get behind today. And it was kind of funny. My receptionist said to me, she says, I thought we were going to be here till at least 6 o'clock tonight. And I said, well, I was hoping we wouldn't be here that long. We got done 5 after 5. And so I thought that was amazing. So how many of us are suffering from stress and emotion? Stress creates emotion, okay? It creates anxiety. It creates fear. It creates the feelings of, I'm going to downsize this so I can see things here just a little differently. It creates sleeping disorders. Okay. Does anybody ever wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning? Eileen, I heard you say you woke up at 3 and thought you left a light on because the moon was so full. You know, so stress is something that creates emotion, and emotions are something that most of us don't want to deal with when we start thinking about that. We don't want to deal with our emotions. We want to kind of bury them. So a couple of things I use in my office. My favorite book to use, and I always have it, is called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. How many of us take our feelings, we stuff it inside, and we don't want to deal with it? I mean, that's 99% of the world. There's other books I use, Healing Feelings by Carol Truman, by, I can't think of her name right now, and then the Emotion Code. So I use a lot of different sources to help people because everybody's different. But the go-to book that I use to help people heal is called Feelings Buried Alive. So if somebody is suffering from depression, okay, and they're dealing with a depression type situation, we come up, these are a couple things that ends up, let me put that right over there, turn my phone off so it doesn't buzz. It's about to buzz off there. So feeling I'll never be able to be enough or do enough. Feeling it's no use. Feeling things are beyond my control. Hopeless, helpless feelings. Feelings like quitting or giving up on life. Okay. Anger turned inward. Insufficient exposure to sunlight. Okay. And it can also cause the depression. So those are just a few things that we look at. So when we start dealing with people, we start literally using this to help start clearing out the emotions using an emotional technique. There's a lot of different things. You can go talk to a counselor. You can go actually take some life coaching. There's things you can do to help the emotions and feelings. But depression is one of the number one causes of all illnesses or anxiety or emotions. All right. And they come in different things. Has anybody ever thought that their digestive problem, such as constipation or diarrhea, could be a cause of some type of emotional thing? So I'm going to just come in here to constipation in here for just a minute because I want to give a few examples. So constipation, if you're one of these type of people, this may connect with you. Constantly fretting, unwilling to release old feelings and beliefs, resisting the flow of life. You're just not going with things, okay? Blocking what you want to say, not being able to express how you feel. Feelings of anxiety, unresolved problems, determined to carry on no matter what. Unhappy in a situation, unhappy in your job, unhappy in a marriage, unhappy in anything, but you're dang determined to just make it work no matter what. And we find that quite often. So how do we change those emotions? How do we start clearing those out? So I'm going to talk about just a couple of things. And some of these things I'm going to actually be sharing from Dean Graciosi, the first part of it. And then I'm going to just talk a little bit about nutrition and also things that will help with sleep, okay? Because most people don't sleep well that are suffering from emotional stresses. So how do you reduce your emotional stressors? Okay, how do you do this? So how many of us are looking for happiness? Okay, we say, when I do this, I'll be happier, or when I do that, I'll be happier. So what I want you to do is sit down and write this down. I want you to define what does happiness look like to you? What does it really look like? What is it that's going to make you happy? Okay, it can't be somebody else can make you happy, but you need to look at what is going to make me happy. Okay. Make the presence your friend, okay? Where you're at right now in life. We're all at different stages in life right now. We're doing different things. We're trying to achieve different goals, but we always look at where we are not, okay? Be okay with where you're at. Life is a learning experience. When we start working in our lives and we start doing things, we need to sit down and say, okay, am I okay where I'm at? Now, is it okay to look to the future? Yeah, it is. It's okay to look to the future, but that future needs to be looked at in those steps and those progresses to get where you want to be. What is it that you want? Do you want to be able to be financially out of debt? Do you want to be in a better relationship? Do you want to be in a better job? Do you want to be able to help other people get well? What is it that you want to do? Do you want to help people that are struggling in their lives? Okay. But you want to be there right now. When I went to chiropractic school, I didn't get to just go to chiropractic school. I had to go to undergraduate before. Okay. I have at least a high school diploma. Then I had to go to 4 years of undergraduate. And then after 4 years of undergraduate, then I went to chiropractic school. Okay. And so it was a journey. And then when I got into practice, I realized I didn't know anything. And that was it. That's been a journey. So the last 28 years has been a journey for me. And every day is a journey for me. Okay. Because every day I am trying to improve. How do I help people get better? What could have I done different today? So I'm always looking at those things. So I'm in the present and I'm making it my friend so that I can move forward. So stop overthinking things. All right. Sometimes we may be on a job that we start thinking, man, John doesn't like me. My boss doesn't like me. Or, man, I just not sure what I'm going to do. I just, I can't get this thing down. I can't say the right words. I can't do the right things. I'm having troubles. So stop overthinking things. Again, come back to the simple things. Okay. And then how many of us, when we get in a situation, all of a sudden we start thinking, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have made that phone call. I shouldn't have said that to that person. They're going to think something about me. And then we start thinking of things. You know what? Focus on the positive outcome. Okay. Whatever it may be. If you're starting a new job, or you're starting in a job, or you're starting in a new relationship. Okay. What do you want out of that relationship? Okay. Look at the positive things in that relationship. Don't look at the negative things. Look at how you want to be and do your part to make that relationship good. Because when we don't do that, then we create emotional stress in ourselves. And then we start questioning who we are. So that self-confidence is really important. Let go of, if you're expecting something out of something, you're expecting certain types of outcomes. Okay. I'm expecting to, in LifeVantage, I'm expecting to be a Pro 5 in 2 months. Okay. And you just started today. Is that doable? Yeah. I know there's people that have done that. Is it realistic? Sometimes, not always, but don't hold on to that specific thing. And when you get to that 2 months and you didn't make it, then you say, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm going to quit. I'm not going to move forward. I'm not going to help anybody else because I can't be successful myself. Because then we start self-analyzing ourselves when we have specific outcomes and those outcomes don't come about. We start looking at ourselves. Don't be afraid to fail. You know, we're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to have struggles. We're all going to have problems. And the biggest thing is failure in our society today is not in a good context. Every kid gets a trophy when they play a baseball game or they play a sport. Okay. Then when they get into the high school competitive sports and all of a sudden they have to get into a real life situation and they think everybody's going to get a trophy at the end, they're all going to get a gold medal. Guess what? That's not going to always happen. So you've got to always, don't be afraid to fail. You're going to fail because what does failure do? It brings about education or learning for us, right? When we fail forward, okay, we actually learn to grow. Okay, we're going to fail no matter what. It's just part of life's experiences. And so failing is not a bad thing. And so often I see people fail. And Lisa Nichols says, fell forward, because when you fall forward, you're not rolling back down the hill, but you're going uphill. So that's something we need to do. So when we want to reduce our emotional stress, the stresses that we feel, we need to make sure that we're okay, that, you know what, not every day is going to be roses and trophies and medals. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to sit there and have a pity party for a little while, but you fell forward and then gather your big boots on and you pull them up and you move forward. Okay. Let go of grudges. Okay. You have to forgive to move forward. If you've had something that's happened in your life, and we all have had, okay, everyone that is on this call has had something that has happened in their life, whether their childhood was rough, whether they have a tough job, whether they were the kid that was picked on in school, okay, whether they were told they weren't going to be anything. It was kind of funny. I was having this discussion today with a school teacher, and we were talking about, you know, she was always trying to help lift her students to another level. And I said, you know, I had to learn to let go of a grudge that I held against a teacher for a long time because he told me I'd never be successful. So when I seen him one day, 5, 6 years, actually it was 10 years later, I went up to him and all I said to him, now this is way before I realized I had to let go of that grudge. I went up to him and said, hey, I just want you to know I'm really, really successful despite what you said about me. Now I wanted to stick that knife into him because he hurt my feelings years ago. And then I realized, you know what, had he not done that, I wouldn't have probably dug in as much and I probably wouldn't be where I'm at. So the next time I seen him, I said, hey, I really apologize for what I said. I appreciate the fact that what you said actually made me want to be better. Even though it was hurtful at the time, it allowed me to grow. So let go of those grudges, let go of those things, because those things will keep us from moving forward and growing. Being grateful for what you have in front of you. Okay. Most of us are not living in a cardboard box somewhere on the street. Okay, we see that on a regular basis. Most of us have, 3 square meals a day. Most of us have enough money to make our bills. Most of us have good relationships. They're not perfect, but they're good. Okay. So when we have those things, be grateful for what you have. Be grateful that God has given you the things that He's given you and that you're able to have those things. So always do this. My grandfather-in-law, after he passed away, we inherited some of notebooks that he kept. And every day he wrote a grateful statement in there. I'm so grateful we had rain today. It makes the grass grow. I'm so grateful the sun came up today. It was so beautiful coming up from the east, and it gave me a different perspective of my grandfather-in-law, because he struggled in life because he was a veteran and he had a lot of PSTD, and he struggled in life. And then when I seen this journal, I found a different man than I knew as somebody that was working with me. So if you're struggling with emotional stressors, I want you to start journaling a positive thing. Take a notebook, and every morning, every evening, whenever you do it, just sit down and write something you're grateful for. Okay. I'm grateful my dog loves to see me come home every day. I have a dog that he thinks he's not seen me every 5 minutes. He's so excited to see me. It's just like, wow, this is great. Somebody likes to see me. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is don't settle for good enough. Okay. We need to always be growing. We need to always be striving. We need to be stretching. We need to be doing something that's going to help us grow. It doesn't mean we have to put pressure on ourselves to be the number one guy in there, but we need to always not settle for just being good enough. There's enough people that's settling for being good enough in the world. How can we make a difference in the world? Okay, when we're serving people, it helps heal our emotional stresses. When we're going out and helping others, okay, whether it's physically, financially, whether it's helping them just saying good morning to them or hello, I love your smile, whatever it may be, make the world a better place. Don't settle for just good enough. Be above and beyond that. Be somebody that can then push that forward, because when you do that, that's going to go back and start healing feelings and emotions that you're struggling with, such as depression and anxiety. If you can change somebody else's lives, that's something that's really, really important. And then be a part of something bigger than yourself. Okay. We get self-absorbed. We can think about what we want. We can think about, where we want to be and what we want to do. But what is it that we can do that's going to add value to something or someone in this world? One of the most wonderful things I think that LifeVantage does is goes down to Mexico and builds homes for those that are less fortunate. One of the other things is we donate money, and people donate money so that people that have cleft palates can have normal smiles, and they go over and they're able to do those things. So when we can do something that's better, and there's organizations, we have a thing out west of town here called Sarah Jane's. And what I love about Sarah Jane's, excuse me. And what I love about it is they take food donations, and we go out there and we work once in a while. Why? Because I want to be bigger than just myself. I want to help other people rise above and help them become better. Because when we can reach down and pull someone out of the moat and help them move forward, that helps us become a better person and have a better outlook on life. So don't always think about what's in it for me, but what is it that I can help somebody else with? That's what we're God's creations for that reason, is to help other people. Oops, where did I go? I may have not put a last screen in there. Oh, there. Sorry, I must not put my last screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually stop my share screen here just a minute. Okay. And I'm going to just talk about some other things. So when we start thinking about stressful moments, not only do we want to think about that, but let's say you're having anxiety, or you're having trouble sleeping. Does anybody have trouble sleeping and they wake up in the middle of the night and then they're waking up certain times? If you want to see something cool when you're waking up in the middle of the night, go and type in horary clocks, and you can look at what time of the day. Let's say it's 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 to 5, you're waking up and you can't go back to bed. Okay. Everything's on your mind. In the acupuncture system, this is something that's really cool. In acupuncture, what that is the lung meridian. Okay. And when we're dealing with the lung meridian, we're dealing with letting go of things. okay? Or we're dealing with grief or guilt, whatever it may be. So you can actually start looking at those horary clocks, and you can actually start looking at it and saying, oh, okay, that's why I always wake up at 1 to 3 in the morning. I'm mad at somebody. I have anger towards somebody, okay? So those are important things. But also what we need to do is we need to add fuel back into our body. Okay, I had a young girl in my office today. She has been skipping meals and her mom's worried about her, and so she brought her in so we could work with her on a nutritional basis. And so we got talking, and I just asked a bunch of questions. I says, why are you skipping meals? She says, I don't want to look like my mom. Okay. And her mom's a little overweight, and that's normal because that's scary to her. Okay. So I says, okay, that's fine. So what is it if you don't put fuel in your car and you go down the road, how far are you going to get? She thought a minute. She says, well, I may run out of gas and not get very far. I says, right. So if you don't put fuel into your body, how far are you going to get? And how are you going to feel without putting fuel into your body? Okay. Or let's say, what if we put the wrong fuel in? My favorite food group is ice cream food group. Okay. That's its separate food group. I don't crave it hardly at all anymore because I've changed the gut biome in my gut. So I've changed it by doing some different things. So what I want you to do is realize that gut health is really, really important. And we've got to change that because you know what? Our gut can create negative feelings and negative emotions. If our bacteria are not properly fed and we feed them bad stuff like breads and sugars and candy bars, and it causes a Debbie Downer look on life. Okay, sorry for anybody that's named Debbie on this right now or ever gets a share to, because when we start dealing with that, if our gut health, those bacteria, those biomes are not correct, they give us a negative outlook. So we can actually change that by one, getting proper probiotics, okay? But also 80% of the immune system, 70 to 80% of the immune system is in the gut. So if we're not having a healthy gut, not only are we having maybe a negative outlook, but we're getting ill all the time. And when we get ill all the time, we don't feel well. And if we don't feel well, then what ends up happening is our body starts going, oh, I'm sluggish, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. What do I do? Okay, we've got to feed the good bacteria so the bears won't be angry. Okay, so change our gut biome. Now that starts with your diet. Okay, so I'm going to tell you specifically, you need to get rid of breads, pastas, and high sugar content foods. Okay, soda pop is one of the number one things that will actually kill off your gut biome. If you're drinking the fizzy waters, guess what fizzy water does? Okay, the seltzer waters, it kills off your gut biome. I had a patient in the other day. She says, I don't know why I'm all bloated. And we started talking, and I says, do you drink carbonated water? And she says, well, yeah, I buy the seltzer waters all the time. And I says, that's got to stop, because what it's doing is it's creating a gas and killing off your good bacteria. And so realize there's things we got to do. And the gut bacteria creates emotions. Okay, so we got to change that gut biome. Secondly, if we have a lot of inflammation in our body, in our joints and different things, we need to reduce inflammation. Well, guess what? In this company, I want you to get back with whoever shared this with you and talk with them about it. We have the most powerful anti-inflammatory that's natural on the market. Okay, not by me. I can't say that let me rephrase that. That's probably an inappropriate word to say in there. May have to edit that out, Eileen. We have the most powerful Nerve2 activator, can reduce inflammation in our body by 40% in 30 days. Okay. And so that's not due to me, but it's actually comes from studies that have been done on our product. Okay, so what if we could flip on switches and start our body to healing itself and getting itself well? That's really important. So let's flip on those switches. Anybody tired or we don't feel well, we get a negative emotion if we don't feel well. If we're always waking up feeling yucky, we resume that's what our life is going to be like. I don't feel well. I always have digestive problems. I can't function more than 3 hours a day without having to take a nap all day long. And I just don't want to get out. I'm depressed. I'm having anxiety. I'm having physical pain. So Nerf1 helps activate our mitochondria in healing them and rebuilding them. So it's really, really important. So these are switches, genetic switches that flip on switches that allow our body to start healing itself. So let's give the proper tools to start that healing process so we get better. The last thing I'm going to talk about is NAD. So NAD is in charge of the CERT genes in our body. So all these are nutrigenomics. So we're dealing with flipping on genetic switches that helps the body. So we know that NAD, through the studies of it on PubMed, that it increases sirtuin levels in our body. Sirtuin actually helps heal our body and upregulates it and gives it better energy and more health. Now, when we put NRF1, NRF2, and NAD together, all of a sudden we upregulate that healthy feeling at a much more rapid pace. We start having a feeling of wellness. We start having a little less inflammation. We start noticing we can do more. Our brain's clearer. Things are starting to happen because all of a sudden our body's starting to get activated and starting to heal itself. So anxiety and depression is something we can take care of. And if you're struggling from that right now, or if you know somebody that's struggling from that right now, they're going to look at you and say, you know what, you're crazy because you don't know what it's like to deal with depression. You don't know what it's like to deal with anxiety. You don't know what it's like to deal with emotional stresses. And just reach out to them and ask them, or if you're having it, take a little bit of faith right now. Okay. Know that God has created a body that knows how to heal itself when we do the right things. So I want you to look at, how do I turn on that switch to help my body start healing itself at a much more rapid pace? And the first thing I want you to do, if you do nothing else, is change your diet. Change your diet, get off breads, get off sodas, get off dairy, okay? And right at first, it's going to be hard. But if you'll stick with it and have that stick-to-itiveness that you need, you will see that your body will start slowly changing, and all of a sudden it'll start up-ramping. Now, if you had some of those other products I just talked about, it may start doing it a little quicker. I had a young lady in today. She lost her dad in July, and she's very emotional. She's put on 20 pounds since she lost her dad, okay? And her mom was with her, and they're very emotional. And as we started talking about it, we talked about, how do we change her life? How do we get this going in a different direction? Because she's in my office because she's not feeling well, okay? So I gave her some answers, and I started saying, this is where we need to head. So we started with her diet today. We started with giving her some things that'll help her gut biomes, okay? We gave her stuff that'll help her break her foods down because she's not eating right or breaking things down correctly. So that's what we did. So feelings are hard for us all to deal with. And when we're depressed or we're having anxiety, we think that we're the only ones having that. Trust me, all of us have it, okay? I have anxiety on occasions. I have depression on occasions. I have times that I just don't want to do anything. I know there's people out there that have those emotions and feelings, and all of us have that. But how long we stay in that mode is the difference. So start one, changing your diet. Start activating your body through diet. Drink water, lots of it. My wife's solution to every health conditioning issue is drink more water. My kids would always come home and say, I'm tired. My wife say, you drinking water? Well, no. Okay, drink more water. Okay. And I truly believe water is healing to our bodies. Okay. So get back with the person that shared this, that has shared this with you, and ask them, how can I start helping myself get better? And a lot of them already know some of the dietary things. If they don't, they'll know where to reach out to somebody and ask them, how do I get them on an anti-inflammatory diet? What is an anti-inflammatory diet? So ask any of those questions, because you know what? There's so many diets out there right now, right? We can actually look at 500 different diets. What diet's right for me? Everybody's a little different. But the biggest thing is reducing the inflammation in the body. First, start with the diet, start with the proper supplementation, start getting your gut healed. Guys, thank you so much for being on tonight. I hope this is helpful. I hope people can learn something. I would love to answer any questions that anybody has here after I'm done, but thank you, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you guys get healthy and wealthy and wise. All right. Thank you guys so much.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Hatch. Oh my gosh, that was fabulous. And I know for me, nutrition was a huge chunk to my journey, but also learning to identify those emotions. And I was blown away when you said that the gut is actually so integral in our emotions. So just another aspect, and so grateful to be here tonight. We will be back every Wednesday, and we hope that you can join us, and especially for the question and answer that always happens afterwards. But get back with the person who invited you here if you have any questions about what Dr. Hatch has spoken about, and we'll get you be well, get well, and stay well. And that's our motto here. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching. And remember, one change can have an enormous effect. Remember to subscribe, hit the bell and the like, and we'll see you next time on Love to Live.